So as Justin said, our first speaker is Ray Willard. He's works with the Washington Department of Transportation here and is also the chair of our state Invasive Species Council. So I'm going to turn it over to Ray for a few comments.
I think I'm just going to look this way. So nice. Good morning. Welcome, everybody, and happy to be here. My name is Ray Willard, and I work for the Washington State DOT. I'm a landscape architect, born here in Washington State in Seattle, and went to Seattle Pacific University and the University of Washington. Spent my early years exploring the mountains around here, climbed a lot of trees, kind of got hooked on the environment at an early age. And so my passion is really for that, is to try and help people see what we have here in our state and in this region, this world actually, as far as this amazing natural environment to live in. And really to get people to appreciate that that is where it all starts, and therefore it's our most precious asset really as humans, as a society of humans, as societies of humans. And here we are on this planet. How do we get people to see that that's really the ultimate thing that we need to do here, is protect our planet? So it's been a great career working for the DOT. I've got about 100,000 acres of land that is beside all of the roads in Washington State and covers all the ecosystems of Washington State, connects everything. And so to have a canvas to work on like that as a landscape architect is really kind of a dream come true. But it's also hugely challenging. It's trying to get everybody together and do the right thing for the roadsides in Washington State. So that's another story for another time. But it's great to be here today. And what I really want to do is tell you about what we're doing with the Washington Invasive Species Council. And we were up here yesterday. We actually have 4 meetings a year as a council, and we travel once in a while. And this year we actually traveling to 2 remote locations. Usually we meet in Olympia. But we were up here yesterday in Bellingham at the boathouse, which is just, you can see it, it's right over there. So it was great. I mean, it's beautiful here. I love it. One of the best parts of my job is I get to go all around the state and consult with all the crews statewide. And so I really get to travel the state and have been doing that for the last 25 years. So it's a great job. I love it. When we started talking about having a Washington Invasive Species Council right around the turn of the century, there was some talk with the legislature. Oregon had just established their council, and we started having some conversations with the Washington agencies about doing this. And I got to be a part of those early conversations, drafted the legislation, did some studies. We had, within a few years, a bill passed, and the council was enacted in 2006. And so let me kind of use the slides here. So we were able to define what we were talking about as far as invasive species and kind of put a limit on it. We'd included infectious diseases, but we kind of stopped it at there. But all the usual suspects, terrestrial, aquatic, bugs, plants, animals, anything that's not native and it has a potential to come in here and disrupt the native systems. So not livestock, agriculture, all that stuff, forestry. There's a lot of things that we're doing with the land in Washington that is part of our economy that we also need to protect. All right. So given that, trying to get everybody together around this is a real challenge. And this has kind of been a trend nationally where states have gotten together, all their folks that manage the land and in the states or in the regions, and try to get people working on things together and coordinating. So that's kind of our mission as a council, is to really, and ultimately to protect the economy and the natural environment in Washington State. And this is all about sustainability. So I'm not going to go into a lecture on sustainability, but you guys know there's 3 legs of sustainability, right? Everybody know that? There's society, there's economy, and there's environment. So we're trying to do all those things here really to keep everything moving in the right direction so that our children and our grandchildren have a good place to live. All right, so we want to empower empower those engaged in prevention. So we really want to, is our mission, find the people like us that are out there in society and have an interest in this, just citizen scientists and anybody working on this should be part of the effort and part of the, part of the team that's working on this. And then we have a strategic plan that I'll talk about a little bit here that tries to define the efforts that we're after. All right, there's the folks that are part of the council. We've got a wide range, but basically anyone with a stake in land management in Washington, public lands, obviously, federal, state, and county. But we also have tribal representation. We have representation from private industry. We have, because of the Columbia River and the sensitivity of that ecosystem and that set of issues with the dams, we have the Power Conservation Council, and we have the PUDs represented as well. Noxious Weed Board, so you can see Department of Ag. So really, and then we also have Mark Taylor from Trout Unlimited represents the nonprofits. So 2 minutes, okay. Here we are. This is our industry panel. So we have representation out to the industry, so we can get try to cover all the bases here. Make sure anyone with a voice or a stake in this has ability to connect with the council and help us with our mission. Here's our strategic plan, and based on the principles, really trying to lead the state in terms of what this is all about. It's really about the natural environment and preserving that, and doing that by preventing invasive species. Got to educate everybody on that. We got to make sure if anything shows up, we get on it right away and get rid of it. And then we got to manage what's here. So this is really the thing that we need people to understand, is that this is really something that you don't notice unless you pay attention to the life cycle of the landscape and the land that we're living on. And really, life cycle, if you think about it, started when the first people showed up here and started developing things. All right. You've got a lot of really cool things that we've been able to do as a council. Really great team of folks with Justin and Brianne right now. We've had some really great interns, like amazing interns, to work on this stuff. So we've been able to produce some really cool things. We've had some very good people to work with throughout the state. That's our app, and that's the Washington State Council. Any questions? Great. All right, thanks.
All right.